Hello there! In this video, I'm going to share the 10 things that I have stopped doing since in my 20s. The first one is buying clothes. Of course, I still buy clothes every now and then, but I am more responsible now than ever before. I used to have this weird habit of buying clothes that are displayed on a mannequin. Every time I see a mannequin inside a store, I would imagine that the clothes were perfect for me. They look perfect on the mannequin, so I thought they should also look perfect on me. Then I would be excited to try them at home. And indeed, the clothes looked perfect, but not on me. They're not even comfortable to wear. So a lot of times, I ended up tossing those new clothes in the cabinet without ever wearing them. I used to gravitate towards unique and not so common designs, probably because I wanted to stand out and I wanted to send out a message that I'm not like anybody else, that I was unique, that I was worthy of attention. I know, immature stuff. Looking back, I realized that I really didn't like attention, especially unwanted attention. My self-esteem was so low and I wanted to compensate it by putting up a cover through some particular type of clothes. The sooner I realized that I wanted peace and simplicity in my life, the better I cope with my self-esteem. It's not about the clothes that you wear, it's about confidence in yourself. Confidence for me is being able to stand in the middle of a crowd without being bothered by how we dress and how we look and how other people perceived us based on our appearance. Right now, I maintain a few basic clothes. Aside from having more space in the closet, I no longer bother myself choosing which clothes to wear on any occasion. It is also really time-consuming to maintain more than what you need in your closet. Maybe you've also seen the ultra-wealthy people dress up, right? Look at Bill Gates, the late Steve Jobs, or Mark Zuckerberg. They wear the same type of clothes over and over. They don't have to wear something fancy to show the world that they are worthy of the status. They know who they are. They know their worth. That is true confidence. And that is more important than what you wear. For me, that's a great example of a habit that you and I should emulate. Next on my list is a cap. I wanted to separate this from the first one because even in department stores, there's a separate location for caps or hats. Buying a cap was really intentional for me. I used to buy different colors of baseball caps. Why? Well, I have different colors of shirts to match them with. I also had a collection of different types of hat like a beret, a bowler hat, cowboy hat, a driving hat, a visor, a beanie, you name it, I have them. Even if I knew that I would never use them, I still bought them. What was I thinking? Yeah, I know. It was a waste of money. So what I did with my collection was that I gave away some of my pre-loved clothes and hats, and some of them I gave to my siblings. Some I donated at the foundation that gives relief to typhoon victims in different places. Having simple and plain colored shirts saves a lot of trouble in my life. It saves money, it saves space, and it saves time in mixing and matching and organizing, most importantly. The lesser the better, the simpler the better. The next thing is books. Okay, don't get me wrong, I still read books and I still love reading books and I still love having books. In fact, it's my childhood fascination. When I was young, I wanted to have my own library. The reason behind that is that when I was growing up, we didn't have books at home. Growing up, I didn't see anyone at home reading a book. So the first time I saw a shelf full of books at my classmate's house, that's when I got the idea of having my own someday. And after I received my first salary in my first job, you know what's the first thing I bought? It was a novel by Stephen King. Then I became obsessed with collecting any Stephen King books. After the 30th Stephen King book that I collected, I realized that I only had read less than half of it. At first, I thought maybe I would find time to read them all in the future. It never happened. And I realized that I didn't have much time to catch up reading all those books, so I decided to let go all of them. Although I still love books, I now carefully choose what I really want to read, not just simply because of the author or what other people are reading. Besides, there's an ebook now and an audiobook. Having fewer physical things saves time, especially when you often transfer to different places. Imagine the trouble of packing and unpacking every time you transfer from one place to another. Next is souvenir items. I used to travel almost every weekend in my 20s, and whenever I traveled, visiting a souvenir shop was always part of the itinerary. I don't know why, but I was always drawn to buying souvenir t-shirts, shot glass, keychains, or anything that I could find in a shop, and even some things that I would not normally use. One time I bought a flute from a souvenir shop. You know what? I don't even know how to play the flute. The worst part is that it was a fake flute, but I bought it anyway. While I was transferring to another place, I found several boxes of souvenir items. Most of them I no longer remember where or why I bought them in the first place. It's very stressful to carry them all the time. They're a waste of space, they're a waste of time organizing. And in addition to buying souvenir items, I also stopped collecting freebies from stores like free calendars, free pens. For whatever reason, it is a normal practice in the Philippines that every guest shall bring home a wedding token. I don't know who started this idea, but it's really a waste of money. I know they're special for the couple because they thought about it. They wanted to make sure that what they would give as tokens are something that symbolizes their union. I know, I've been there too. Now, let's be honest. Do people really care about those figurines or those tiny bottles with sand in it? Maybe for a while, but after some time, it becomes a thing in our cabinet that gathers dust. The same with the invitation cards for weddings and parties. Yeah, it's nice to receive them, but after a couple of days or months, it somehow loses its value to us. The event had passed and now it becomes a piece of trash. I know, I used to design cards, and seeing your masterpiece thrown away, it's sad, but that's reality. As I see it now, they're just fluff. I don't think that it adds value to the event. Nowadays, there are alternative ways to send invitations to people. An e-card is a good example. It saves time, it saves money, it saves space. By the way, I once wrote a book where I talked about some simple tips to make sure that those who are planning for their wedding won't end up in debt. It's still available on Amazon and you can check it out if you're interested. The title is Millennial Marriage. It ranked #1 in the bestseller list for new published books for 2 weeks. Just check out the link in the description if you want to check my book, Millennial Marriage. The next item on my list is ball pens. Yeah, I was so fond of collecting ball pens. All types of it, all colors, all sizes, all shapes, you name it. I don't know, there's just some magical thing about ball pens that whenever I visit a bookstore, I get pulled to the shelves filled with all sorts of pens. It would always seem like a paradise to see. Every time I visited National Bookstore, I would bring home with me at least 1 or 2 ball pens. And it's also one of the things that takes space in my cabinet. Some of them have dried up already. It took me quite some time to decide to throw them away. Seeing a vacant space in the cabinet is just like a breath of fresh air. The next item that I deliberately cut from my habit is buying marked down items. I'm not talking about regular items like soap or toothpaste. Of course, it's good to buy these things at a lesser price. I noticed in big stores that they have a corner dedicated to items they want to dispose of immediately. In order to do that, they cut down the price. As customers, we are fooled to think that if you buy these discounted items, we save money. Actually, it's the opposite. I experienced buying several bottles of Gatorade not because I needed them, but simply because it was 50% off. I didn't know that they were expiring the next few days, and I wasn't able to drink all of it, so I ended up throwing bottles of expired Gatorade. It's such a waste of money. I could have saved it or bought it for something else more useful. Another thing, my prepaid mobile load. My prepaid load budget used to be 300 pesos per week. Then I would enroll it for a promo like free calls, free text, free internet, and so on. For some people, it may be a good tactic to save money on cell phone load, but for me, it's a waste of money. It's worse than having a postpaid subscription where you have to pay on a regular basis regardless of whether you consume the limit or not. I realized I'm not that much of a texter person or a caller. It was really a waste of money to subscribe to an only text and only call promo if I wasn't going to use it. Unless I have important matters to use my cell phone for contacting people, I won't even bother to buy a load. Another item on my list is a notebook planner. This is one of the things bookstores or even coffee shops take advantage of. They know that there is a surge of demand for planners starting November. So if you noticed, planners are quite expensive from November until December. The price will only drop by February February or March. And of course, who would want to buy planners during these months? What is so disappointing about planners is that at the end of the year, it remains an empty planner. I find that traditional planner rigid. I do mind mapping as my initial plan, and I scribble a lot, I make a mess a lot, and I do some outlining a lot. So a simple notebook would do just fine for the purpose of making plans. Also, buying planners from coffee shops? Really? That's too expensive. I don't know if it adds value to you, but to me, nah. The next item I stopped doing in my 20s is the habit of watching TV every morning. The problem with morning shows in the Philippines is that most of them highlight the worst of things happening in our surroundings. Like there are people dying, there are people getting sick, or the president is cursing in front of the press conference. They're very stressful to watch, especially in the morning. For me, feeling stressed at the start of the day will make me feel stressed throughout the day. You're not going to be productive if you allow it to happen, because what you feel, what you do at the start of the day is going to affect how you feel throughout the day. So I'd better preserve morning feelings to being calm and grateful than to allow myself to be affected by media. That's why when we got married, we decided not to buy a TV. And it's worth it. And until now, I don't regret it. I don't watch the news regularly, but that doesn't mean I don't want to know what is happening in the world. Nope, not really. Of course, there's the internet, you know. Another thing that I decided to stop doing is watching TV series. I easily get hooked on finishing series shows. I used to spend long hours watching TV series like The Vampire Diaries, Grey's Anatomy, Game of Thrones, The Walking Dead, Heroes, and so many others. Sometimes I would end up sleeping at 3 a.m. just to finish the whole season of a TV series. When I was enrolled in a writing course, I decided to cut my movie time so I could spend more time to finish writing my first book. And yes, I was able to finish writing my first book, How to Survive Mondays, in less than 90 days, which is really rewarding. With just as simple as deciding to skip watching my favorite shows, I was able to achieve one of my childhood dreams, which is to become a published author. It's such a great feeling knowing that such a little sacrifice could help me achieve my dream. And it's been years since I last watched a TV series. Do I miss it? Not really. Looking back, I realized that the main reason I watched those TV shows is that most people were watching them. My friends were watching them. I didn't want to be left out. I wanted to be updated with a trend. I wanted to fit in. And that's a toxic habit to have. You crave to do everything that everyone else is doing. I knew I wanted to do something else in my life, so I stopped that toxic habit that I used to have. Sometimes I feel like there are so many trendy things that I don't know about now, but I no longer feel the need to catch up. My priorities in life have changed. My priorities now are way more important than being updated with TV shows and being able to fit in. So yeah, instead of indulging in some addicting habits like watching the TV series, why don't you do something else productive that will benefit you in the future? Not only financially, but also in other aspects in life, like achieving a lifelong dream. That's something your future will thank you for. The last thing on my list is ice cream. In the past, I could eat up to half a gallon of ice cream while watching movies. I was doing two unhealthy habits at once. Of course, I still eat ice cream every now and then, but in moderation. I feel healthier now and so much better than in my 20s. So there you have it, the 10 things I stopped doing that have benefited my finances and my overall aspect in life. But I tell you, it wasn't as easy as turning off a switch. No. When we were younger, we seldom thought about the future consequences of our actions. That is why many people grow up with so many regrets in their life. They don't dare to stop their bad habits, and they just move on with their life as if they were going to live forever. It takes a simple conscious awareness of our actions to realize that our life on earth has a deadline. We're not here forever. We're not here just to be drifters waiting to be carried by the tides of life. We're here to leave a mark. We're here to contribute something to mankind. We're here to make our dreams and aspirations a reality. My name is Franklin Vios, financial educator and home-based dad. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know if you have other habits that you cut off early on. How did it benefit you? How did you get rid of those bad habits? I love to see your ideas. I'd like to learn from you as well. Let me know in the comments below. If this is your first time in my channel, I do share personal finance videos every Monday. You may also check my other videos here or here. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.